Sick jump. In 1935, in an aquarium in Sydney, a shark coughed up a human arm. But plot twist, the shark didn't eat anyone. It was a stray arm that the shark had just gobbled up, turning the shark attack story into a murder mystery. Ooh. So the story begins, as most stories do, at the beginning, with a man named Bert. I don't mean that most stories begin with a man named Bert, I mean that they begin at the beginning. Old Bertie was out bloody fishing on the beach when he accidentally caught a shark.
Nom.
Now I say accidentally because he was actually trying to catch a smaller shark when a big 14-foot shark just chomped onto the small shark and then he reeled that in.
I call the big one Bitey.
Bertie reels in Bitey the tiger shark and he's like, oh, this is a bloody big shark. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bloody take this shark and I'm going to bloody take it to my brother who works at the Coogee Aquarium and Swimming Baths. And he can bloody put the shark on display and he can make a bloody tuppence. How much is a tuppence? I think it would still be about 2 cents. How much is that in Bitcoin? After a few days of being an exhibit, Bitey started acting like a bit of a weirdo and he was swimming around in circles and bashing his fucking head against the wall. Eventually, he did a power bomb. So a reporter happened to be there at the time and he recorded what happened on a bit of pen and paper. Not on a smartphone like a normal person, no, he wrote it down. Like a fucking Neanderthal.
A copious brown froth, which smelled really foul, issued from the shark's mouth. And a bird, a rat, a load of muck, and a human arm with a piece of rope tied around it floated to the surface.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever felt really crook and then vomited up last night's dinner? Like you bent over the toilet and then out comes 4 Redskins and your Bunnings snag? Now imagine you doing that, but in an aquarium full of people. Now imagine that you do that, but you're a shark. How embarrassing. Actually, no, sharks wouldn't care. I don't think sharks can get embarrassed. I think that's a benefit to being a shark. Have you ever seen a shark cry? No, because they're in an ocean, so when they cry, it becomes the ocean. You don't even see it. The cops were called and they gave the arm a once-over, and they determined that the shark was innocent and he was released from jail. You see, now, if this was modern day, the shark would have been cancelled without a trial, and he would have had his career ruined, people would have rang him up, it would have been hashtag Tiger Shark is over party. Yeah, well, guess what? Thank God for the 30s. Turns out that the arm hadn't been bitten off, it had been cut off with a blade. Fortunately, the arm had a very obvious tattoo of bloody 2 boxes squaring off. It looked a bit shithouse, but it was the 30s. So the cops were like, oh, this is bloody brilliant, this job will do itself. And they uploaded a picture of the tattoo to the 1930s version of Instagram called The Newspaper. A bloke eventually contacted, hang on. That means that the shark gobbled the entire arm whole. Chew your food, shark. So anyway, a bloke came forward to the cops and he was like, oh yeah, no, I think that was my brother. I think. He had a very similar tattoo, except it was on his arm and not on the newspaper. The owner of the tattoo was a man named James Smith, who was all the bad things a guy could be in the 1930s. He was a bookie, he was a small-time crook, and an amateur boxer, which is how the cops managed to figure out that the tattoo belonged to him. Turns out Jimbo had been missing for a few weeks and nobody had thought to say anything. The cops quickly worked out that the last time Jimbo had been seen was when he was drinking at the pub with his mate Patrick Brady. Patrick Brady was unsurprisingly another reprobate. His crime of choice was forgery. He wasn't very good at it though because he kept getting caught. The police digging continued. They went and spoke to Patrick Brady's landlord who was like, oh, Patrick bloody pissed off before his lease was up and he's taken a whole bunch of stuff. He took a trunk, he took a canoe, not an elephant's trunk, like a case, like a portmanteau. The fuck is a portmanteau? Anyway, it was very suspicious indeed. The police spoke to a traditionalist Uber driver who said that he dropped off a very twitchy and scruffy Paddy off at a local rich fuckhead's house. His name was Reginald Lloyd Holmes. How's the fucking name? You couldn't get a more wankery name if you tried. Enter Reginald Lloyd Holmes. Respected businessman, boat builder, and crime kingpin. This bloke was super dodgy. He controlled a smuggling ring, he dealt drugs, and he thought Ratman Lewis Spears was funny. He used to hire Jimbo and Paddy to go out on a boat and collect things like cocaine, cigarettes, and other contraband that had been thrown overboard on ships, like burnt DVD copies of Avengers Endgame. He also set up insurance scams. He'd get Jimbo and Paddy to burn his boats, and then collect the insurance on them. His insurance company must have hated him, like, oh, well, it looks like you've burnt over 435 boats in this last financial year. So unfortunately, we won't be able to renew your no-claim bonus.
Just don't insure him, hey? You'd save so much money. Actually, that's what happened. The cops worked out that after one too many insurance scams, the insurance company was like,
Nah, get fucked, we're not doing it anymore.
and they cut him off. This resulted in a three-way tantrum between the boys, which further resulted in Jimbo being murdered. Both Paddy and Reggie were brought in for questioning by the police, but they were like old Johnny Tight-Lips. They weren't saying nothing. So Reggie was let go, but Paddy was charged with murder and kept for further questioning because fuck him, I guess. A few nervous days later, Reggie took a boat out into Lavender Bay, pulled out a gun, and... oh wait, this was the 1930s. Handguns were shithouse then. Reggie pulls out a gun, shoots himself in the head, but the bullet just flattened against his forehead and knocked him out.
Fuck me, is this heaven? Why can't I breathe?
A very confused Reggie hops back into his boat. Problem was, a bunch of onlookers saw some fuckwit shoot himself in the head, so they called the cops, which began to very quickly arrive on the scene. Reggie shit himself and began an aquatic police chase that lasted for several hours until he finally gave up, probably because he was starving, and every time he tried to stop and fish for more food, the cops would get closer. And you just get sick of it after a while, wouldn't you? At first, Reggie told the cops that he didn't actually try and commit suicide. He was attacked at home, and they shot him in the head and it didn't work. And then he escaped down to the beach and then hopped in his boat. And he thought that the cops were actually the people who shot him trying to catch him. Do you believe that? The cops probably responded with,
No, that's not... No, we have several onlookers who said that they saw you shoot yourself in the head, fall out of the boat, then climb out of the boat very confused. Also, how the fuck did you not realise it was us with our flashing lights going? How many thugs do you know that have boats that go wee woo wee woo wee woo wee woo?
yeah, nah, fair enough. It's worth a shot, eh? Imagine if I got away with that lie though. That would have been sick. Here's what actually happened. Here's the tea. Paddy murdered Jimbo. What a dog. So Paddy murdered Jimbo at his cottage, cut him up, and then buried him at sea. Well, he sunk him at sea. That's what it's called when you bury someone in water. It's called sinking them. Paddy then went over to Reggie's house and like slapped him with the arm and was like,
Bloody give me some money or you'll end up like this. Oh shit, he's a wizard. I don't want to get turned into a detached arm.
and I assume he paid Paddy. Reggie then got like super stressed later on and tried to tell himself, blah, 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 we already, when you shot, bang, oh, my head hurts, all etc. Meanwhile, Paddy tied the arm to a rock, threw it in the water where it was gobbled up by a shark, and now we've come full circle. So what happened to Paddy and Reggie? Well, Reggie agreed to testify against Paddy in court, but a few days before his trial, he was shot in his car. At first they were like, oh, well, it was probably suicide. But based on Reggie's MO, it didn't seem like it was Reggie because he actually died this time. It's more likely that he was killed to prevent him from saying anything about the case, / avoid the embarrassment of having to recount the story of how he nailed himself in the head in court. With Reggie being murdered before the trial, Paddy got away scot-free. All the other evidence was circumstantial. See, his bloody lawyer lawyered it and was like, well, without an arm, we have no body. And with no body, there's no murder. See, because for all we know, there could be a very semi-armless Jimbo Smith walking around going, oh, fuck, I wish I could clap. The jury was like,
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. Shit, you got us there.
and with that, Paddy was allowed to go free. Until about 20 minutes later when he was arrested on charges of forgery. I shit you not. God, old habits die hard, I guess. Paddy claimed he was innocent until he died in 1965, when he eventually got what was coming to him, dying of old age. Got him. And that's the story of the shark that coughed up a human arm. What happened to the shark, I hear you say, through the camera? Poor bastard was cut open to see if he had any other remains of a person inside him. Imagine that you give the cops a vital piece of evidence in a murder trial, and then they murder you. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, check out this one about a man who went on a rampage through Western Australia in a tank and smashed up some cop cars. It was fucking sick. Check it out. Let me know if you love it. Mwah. Love you. Baby shark, baby shark, baby shark. That's what you wanted the whole time. I know it.